guys, it's almost 7. Can you hear me and see me okay? Is the sound decent? Seems to be working. Let me see. Let's see all the messages coming through. All right. Saludos, guys. Hello, hello. I hope you are all well. I'm playing through my what is it? Fender Pro Junior. I have an external 112 cab hooked up to it, so it sounds a bit bigger. And I'm using a Blue Sky reverb from Strymon. Okay, so it's 7. Let's get rocking. Alright, so first of all, I just wanted to welcome you to this live stream on YouTube. I haven't done one in a while, so hopefully we can do more of these if you guys like it. You know, it's different to make a live video compared to one you make in your studio. For one thing, it's a lot harder to show you a lot of details on the fretboard, because the you know, the picture quality isn't quite as good, and you know, it's more on the fly type of stuff I can show you. But I thought we would start by looking at a minor pentatonic pattern. So I'm going to just show you a few cool things you can do with that. But before we get into that, I'd like to mention to you that I now have t-shirts and mugs and such things available. If you click on the link that you see on this page, there is a link that says MJ t-shirts now available. So I have set up a store with a company called Cafe Press. So if you want to support me, you can go and buy a t-shirt that says Master Guitar Academy on it, or a mug, or, well, there's a few different things available in that store. So go check it out. I think there's even a tote bag. You can carry your groceries in a bag that has my logo on it. Kind of cool. So check that out. It's brand new. I just set it up today. And so let's get into this thing I want to show you. If you look in on the page here, there's a link to what I call the minor pentatonic backdoor pattern. The link says, today grab this. You click on that link, you'll see a graphic of the fretboard. Neck diagram it's called. So what that is a way to play notes from the pentatonic scale. In this case, the minor pentatonic. And I call it a backdoor pattern. I did not invent that term, but it is one that a lot of people use. So if you don't know it, I highly recommend you learn it, because it's so useful. You can do so much with it. So what is it then? Well, it is it's a way to run up the scale from the low E string all the way up to here. Or you can go even further. Let me see. I'll play a chord in the background. I have a pedal called the Super Ego by Electro-Harmonics. And what this pedal does is it lets you hold a chord forever. And it's really helpful when you're practicing. If you just want to see what it sounds like with a scale or a few note choices from over a certain chord, you can just use this pedal. So I'm going to just play an E minor chord. And now that chord is ringing in the background and I can play over it. Super Ego by Electro-Harmonics. So here is the minor backdoor pattern. All right. That's what it sounds like. So look. Let's look at what's happening with this pattern. And again, you can grab the graphic, the neck diagram for this. It's in the link on the page. So what I'm doing is I'm playing. I'm playing 4 notes if we count the open low E string. And I usually slide up to that note. And then we switch strings and play. And right there we have all the notes in the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 notes, right? Then we end it here. Now we start it again. Now this is the starting note, E. So I want you to see this on the fretboard. That little shape right there. It happens again here. Here. And again here. The only difference here is that when you go to the B string, you have to shift everything up this direction 1 fret. I hope you can see her okay. We'll back up a little bit. That's what it looks like on the neck. And because it's so symmetrical and repeats itself, you can quickly travel up and down the neck. Horizontally, I call it, when you go this way. Because as you know, you can play the pentatonic here too. Like these boxes, as we call them. And here. And here. And so on. But sometimes that can be limiting. You end up just playing in a box, and you might find that it's hard to move around and find new ways to go to. So you want to be able to do both. So for example, what you can do to practice going horizontally is just playing 1 string. I'm going to switch to my true overdrive pedal, a little bit more gain. So if you're playing 1 string, and then you do it on the B string, for example. And you continue that with all the strings. That's a good exercise in itself, so that you really know where to find these notes on a fretboard without thinking too much. Because what you'll notice after a while is that you have patterns, you have visual patterns available. It's very obvious when you play the pentatonic because it has only 5 notes, right? When you play diatonic scales, like the major scale and the different modes, then the visual shapes or patterns on the fretboard are a little bit more complicated. So it's good to start with the pentatonic. So this backdoor pattern is one of those patterns that have these shapes built in. That's what I started by showing you. The shape here, right, and then again. So you can then take advantage of using this pattern to play licks. And you can go both from low note to high note, or vice versa. You know, a simple thing like that. You can do it again here. Or here. Sorry. You know, those types of runs are available within this pattern. I think I added a few different things at the end here, but I hope you see what I mean. Okay, so that's the minor pentatonic. Now, a cool thing with this pattern is that you can, of course, use it for the major pentatonic too. So how do you do that? Well, it's just a matter of shifting this pattern, the starting point of it. So the major pentatonic, we're going to be playing E major pentatonic with this pattern. So that would be the same as playing the C sharp minor pattern, because those are parallel keys. E major and C minor, sorry, C sharp minor, C sharp. Those are parallel keys. So if I play this E major pattern, it's going to look like this. And that's the same thing as C sharp minor. So right now I'm focusing on the C sharp minor pattern. Again. Right? But when I start on E, we hear it as the major pentatonic. So I can go between those two, E major pentatonic and E minor pentatonic, as I'm practicing. And when I have a pedal tone, like I'm going to do here with this super ego, you can do both, right? Because when you don't have a full chord that's indicating what key it's in, because if you just play one note and you play over that, you can use either major or minor. You can't do that when you play an E major, for example. Then you have to stick to the major pentatonic. And the same with E minor pentatonic, you stick to the E minor over the E minor chord. But just a one note. See, now it's ringing in the background. Now I can go between these two. I'll start with E minor pentatonic, backdoor pattern. And now I'm going to try and land on the root note E as I'm going through this. Hey Camilo, nice to see you here. Right? I'm trying to play the same line there. And then let's do E major pentatonic. Now I'm back to E minor. I'm going to try not to play chromatic passing notes. I tend to do that a lot. E minor, E major, I mean. Right? So, with that pattern you can do a lot. You can use it to tie together your licks. Let's see if we can come up with one. If I'm playing a box here, I can do this pattern instead. If I was to play that in one box, it's not as visually simple. You know, as long as I'm in that box, I get more patterns to think about visually, and I'm sort of stuck with a hand in one position. So by practicing this backdoor pattern, you can move around on the fretboard, and you can see these shapes. This one pattern is very easy to see on the neck, and if you look in on that graphic that I have provided for you, I have circled the shapes within this pattern, so you can really memorize them. Right? And major. So that's the pattern for you, the backdoor pattern, as I call it. And as you're learning licks from, you know, Stevie Ray Vaughan and whoever you like, Gilmore, Hendrix, you'll see that these licks and lines that a lot of these guys play, this backdoor pattern is often present. It may not be the whole pattern. I mean, because I'm playing 3 octaves, right? They may not use all 3 octaves, of course, because that sounds like an exercise if you go through that wide of a range of this pattern. But you'll probably find that there are licks that, oh yeah, I see this backdoor pattern in this lick. You know, you'll probably see that as you pay attention to it. There's one. You can also play it here, like you can go an octave higher. You know, I'll play, let's play it from here. I can start on the 12th fret on the low E string and play the same pattern. And again. Right? Or a major. All right, so there you have it. I don't know what else I can add to that. Play around with that pattern and start paying attention to the visuals on the fretboard. You know, I get asked a lot about how to improvise and why do I sound boring and what else can I do? I practice all these licks that I learned from guys, but I still can't really play anything freely. Well, this is one way you can break out of a rut, or you can break out of feeling stuck in a certain position. You can still play your licks and go into a pattern. You know, you may be familiar with those types of licks. And then you can go into that. I mean, I'm overdoing it here. I'm playing the same pattern over and over. But it's a vehicle for freedom. We can look at it that way, at least to some extent. And you don't have to play all 5 notes within the scale either necessarily. You can play looks the same on the fretboard. I'm playing the same phrase here in all over the fretboard, and the shapes that I'm seeing, they're all the same. Cool? All right, so that's all I had for lesson for today. So now I'd like to take some questions if you got any. I have my screen open here so I can see whatever you type in. Type in a question, and I can answer questions, and I can show you something quick if need be. When it comes to my gear, all right, see, yeah, the pedal I was using there, I can mention again, it's called Super Ego, Super Ego, EGO, by Electro Harmonics, and it's great for practicing. Like, you know, you want to practice arpeggios, maybe. You know, play a C major 7 chord, let it ring. Like that. Look, Ma, no hands. Now I can practice. Okay, now I've done that, let's go to a whole different style of chord. Maybe I'll do a B7 sharp 9. Okay, let's turn off the overdrive. I'm using a true overdrive from Luna Stone. Here we have a B7 sharp 9. No hands. I just went to E minor there, that's for familiarity. Ego, not eagle, ego, E-G-O. Super ego. Not eagle, not the bird, no bird. Ego, like I have a big ego because I think I'm so awesome, which I don't. E-G-O. All right? So it's a great pedal for practicing. I use it a lot to demonstrate things. You can, of course, if you're really skilled, you can play for a while and then switch chord, press the pedal, and press the foot switch on the pedal and play a different chord, and then you play a different line over it. If you're skilled, it's a bit more tricky. I can try it. A minor. Sometimes, so, you know, I'm not really practiced up on this thing, but backdoor pattern. You know, trying to highlight the pattern there again. Oops. Got some bad cables there. All right. So I don't know what's going on. I got something funky there with my patch chords. So there we go. Let's see what else we have for questions. I'm scrolling through the questions that have come in. Pentatonic for jazz. Well, that is a big question. Pentatonic scales are part of, you know, they're part of the diatonic family in that respect, that this pentatonic is like a subset of the major scale, right? So you can play pentatonic over a minor chord or a major chord easily. So when you have a chord progression that goes between different chords in a jazz tune, you just have to figure out which of those chords, which parent major scale is that chord coming from, and then you play the pentatonic within that major chord. For example, C major, I can play the A minor or the C major pentatonic. Pentatonic backdoor pattern again. So, but I don't think I have enough preparation to go into any jazz examples right now. I have to think about it, but I can show you. Let's see. You can use two different pentatonics to create the sound of a mode, for example. Let's do that again. If I play the C major pentatonic over C, and then I play the D major pentatonic together, back and forth, then we get a cool sound. Can you hear it? We get what's called the Lydian mode because we have this note in there. You can do the same for triads. You can just play the D major triad, C major triad, right? And so on. There's lots of tricks like that you can do when it comes to scales and chords. So that's just one little example. Let's see what else we have. Soloing inside of each chord in a 1-4-5 blues without using triads. Well, you know, I tend to think about triads all the time, unconsciously. You can, of course, just play 2 notes from the triad, but I'm still thinking triad, right? If I'm playing over an A7, you know, I can't avoid seeing the triad, even if I play 2 notes. You know, I'm bending up to a note that's in the triad, come back on one that's also in the triad, and then I end on the 3rd note in the triad. But you can of course do chromatic stuff. It's all about thinking melodically, thinking about phrases that sound good together. And using scales and triads and chord tones is a great help for that. I think most people do that whether they are aware of it or not, because it's what we hear as a good sounding phrase. If I just play chromatic stuff all the time, it's not going to make any sense. It's just a bunch of notes, right? So I don't know, that's hopefully that explains how I think about your question. If not, let me know. Do I visualize notes on the fretboard when improvising? Yes, for sure. That's why I wanted to show you this backdoor pattern, because it's a visual pattern, right? And once it becomes visual to you, you don't have to necessarily stare at the neck. In fact, the good exercise is to just close your eyes, because you know what it looks like, right? Find the starting note, and again, and remember that you have that shift when you go to the B string. But then just close your eyes and it becomes a picture in my mind. I can see those notes on the fretboard when I'm closing my eyes, because it's a visual pattern. I know what the note's going to sound like before I play them. So it's a combination of trusting your ear as well as seeing visually where the notes are on the fretboard. And when it comes to finger patterns and shapes, they are useful for sure, because a lot of the times we play something that's from muscle memory. Something like that. You know, whatever blues licks we might have, but there's a safety mechanism in that we always can do that when we know it's going to sound good. But the more visual patterns we have memorized in here, the more freedom we have. Because I can't think just, okay, I'm going to go and play the pentatonic for a while here, I'm going to go up here and play the pentatonic again for a while. That's not how I think about playing lead guitar or even rhythm guitar. It's about the notes. I know what they're going to sound like. So I'm combining my knowledge in my head, where I can see the notes on the fretboard, with my musical knowledge, knowing what's going to sound good. Right? You got to combine those two, and that's through practice. You learn where the notes are on the fretboard, and you practice playing to tunes, over chords, and you trust your ear. Is this a good sounding line or not? Your fingers are helped by the pattern that you learned, but you have to pay attention to what sounds good. Is this creative? Is it boring? What else can I do? And then you start, you know, messing around with the order of the notes, maybe the length of a phrase, where you start and end the phrase. You know, the rhythmic values you put in, 16th notes or 8th note triplets, and so on. And of course, as someone said here, listen to good players, and really listen actively. Like what are they actually doing? Like sometimes when I hear the great players, it's easier if you listen to blues. Like if I hear Albert King, you know, I can see on the fretboard what he's playing, because I've heard it so many times. I can see it without having my guitar ear, because I practiced it, I learned it, I listened to it, and when I hear him, there's a Albert King lick. You know, when I hear that, okay, I know, I grab my guitar, I can play that too. I don't have to learn it. I've heard it and memorized it. And the more you do that, the more you're going to be able to play what's in your head, right? That's sort of a dream for a lot of us, that we can play what we hear in our heads. And the way you accomplish that is, of course, practice isn't the simple way of putting it, but practicing things that are useful, learning from other players, memorizing them, being able to sing along to them. That's another element that's really useful when you're learning, that you can da 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 da. It doesn't have to be necessarily correct pitch. I have that phrase in my head, so I can play it. If I can't do that with my mouth, so to speak, I'm not going to be able to play it well either. I need to have that phrase in here and be able to let it come out without effort. Okay. Any other questions? Let's see. Use an example of no foot stomping and foot stomping. I want to see if it makes a difference in one's rhythm. Well, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, but first played with the foot stomping, so I'm locking into the groove, but then I take the foot away and let my right hand, in this case, help me with the rhythm. You always have to think groove. Am I in the groove? The right hand is perhaps the biggest helper of that. So you should practice with a metronome frequently. And by the way, if you look at my previous lesson here, the Jimi Hendrix style riff that I posted earlier this week, you'll see that there's a mention of a discount code that you can use if you want to buy that metronome that I'm using. Where is it? I have it here somewhere. The Soundbrenner, it's cool because you can feel it. It vibrates, so you can put it on your chest, your arm, or your leg, or your head if you want, and it will vibrate like this, and that can help to develop a stronger sense of time. But whatever, I'm not saying you have to get that one, but if you want, you can use that code that I have. Robert R is the code, and then you get free shipping on it. But regardless of what metronome you use, it's a great helper to really focus on playing, right on the beat, or actually even behind the beat if that's what you want. But it gives you this what should we call it? It's like it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's a shape that you can look at it as a bar that is 1 bar long or 4 bars long, and then it's split up into quarter notes, 8 notes, 16 notes, and all of those things you can focus on being able to strum or pick, alternate picking, whatever technique you use, so that you are able to lock into these different time values within the rhythm itself. That's really important to be able to do, and you can't really develop a strong sense for that if you never play with a rhythmic device. So that's either a metronome, a drum machine, a backing track, a song on your computer, live band, jamming with a buddy. All those things are going to be really important for you to make sure that you can play well in time. Super ego, it's not like a looper. Well, I guess it is like a looper that rings forever. I don't know how it works exactly. It's an analog type of device, but it just is able to hold the sound that comes into it. You press the button, it internally does some sort of algorithm that makes that sound just stay for as long as you want, until you hit the foot switch again. Really, really useful. How does a beginner learn to play the blues? Oh well, that is by taking lessons from someone like myself or a private teacher. That's one part of it, but more importantly, you need to listen to blues a lot. Listen actively. Try to sing along, hum along. Focus on the melody. B.B. King singing something, try to sing along. Learn the chords. Usually there's 3 chords in the blues, and just keep doing it. Over time you will get more into the feel and sound of that style of music. Yeah, listen to as much blues as possible for sure, and also of a variety of styles. Don't listen to only Stevie Ray Vaughan, for example. Listen to Hendrix playing blues. Listen to Albert Collins. Listen to Jimmy Vaughan, fantastic player. Listen to the old guys like T-Bone Walker and so on. A variety of eras is a good approach, I think. How often do I have live lessons? Well, on my website, Master Guitar Academy, I'm not sure if you're aware, but I do have a membership site where people pay a membership fee and they can access all my lessons that I have ever done. And on there, on the website, I do it once per month, but I may actually do it even more frequent than that. I'm hoping to do it every other week. And here on YouTube, right here on the free section, I don't know. I'll see how this one goes, and I guess I'll do them once in a while if it's helpful for people, and you know, it's a good thing. Feel free to email me or contact me for any feedback, and I want to help people learn how to play better, right? That's my goal as a teacher, an instructor. But of course I have to make sure I bring in a few dollars to pay my bills too. So I have commercial premium stuff and I have free stuff, and I do my best to maintain a balance between the two. How do you increase picking speed? Yeah, that is a good question. Picking speed, you know, I don't. Well, first of all, I gotta say it's a bit of a personal thing. I mean, music theory and how things work, that's like absolute knowledge in a way, like it's just the way it is. But when it comes to how you play music, there's so many different alternatives there. When it comes to picking, you have people who are really good at alternate picking, or that might be their goal. You know, to pick every single note. Other people might do what's called economy picking, where they do a sweep from one string to the next. You know, the pick goes down when they switch strings. That's another approach. As for me, I do a lot of hammer-ons and pull-offs, legato style. And that's, for me, is easier, and I can play faster too. You know. Stuff like that, it's a lot of pull-offs and hammer-ons. So, depends on what you want to accomplish. For me, I prefer to do the legato style, where I do hammer-ons and pull-offs, because it's easier for me and I can express my ideas easier and better. When I was younger, I tried to do alternate picking and all that stuff, but I was never really good at it. Doesn't mean that you can't be good at it. That's what I mean, we're all different. So if you like that alternate picking stuff and you want to get better at it, you just have to sit down and practice it a lot and pay attention to the little details. Use a metronome and play little exercises and runs back and forth, like you can use a metronome. At some point it gets too difficult to play it cleanly, like it did there for me. But that's the approach. Just slowly, carefully, and gradually increase the speed, and you will get better at it. I think there is a threshold of how good you will become. I mean, some people have natural talent for technique, and some people struggle with it. I'm the one of those who struggle with it. So I think over time you develop a more natural technique for yourself, and that can be a combination of sometimes alternate picking, sometimes economy picking, sometimes sweep, you know, if you want to do that type of stuff. And whatever it is. So slow and careful to start with, and then gradually pick up the pace. Uh, practice what you don't know. Yeah. The old things get rusty. Yeah, I know. So that's a good question. Like when it comes to remembering stuff, it's important to go back to them. It's good to have uh, a notebook, so to speak. What I use is Guitar Pro. Guitar Pro is a really, really great piece of software that doesn't cost a fortune. What is it, $50 or something? And you can easily enter ideas and licks. And you can keep building, you know, a long list of licks, like a library of ideas that you can come back to, because you forget them after a while. Like, oh, what's that cool lick I learned last week? That cool line over this chord, I can't remember it now. And you say, oh, I can't do it. Like if you write them down as you learn them, you can go back every week or every other week and play through them again. And then you'll be like, oh yeah, I know, I remember. This is what it was like. And you tell yourself on a regular basis to go back and relearn them. And you try to use them in recordings. It's good to practice recording yourself playing ideas over a backing track. So I think that's something we all have to do. We do forget stuff, so you have to actively keep track of the stuff you have learned and then actively go back and refresh your mind. It doesn't mean that you need to know all of it all the time from memory, but let's say you have 10 cool lines and you forget most of them. If you keep going back to them, maybe you'll remember 5 or 4 that you really like. And that's good enough. You know, those other 4 or 5, like maybe they weren't as cool. For some reason, you really felt more attached to specific ideas that you learned. And then those are the ones that will stay long term. Yeah. Okay. More Hendrix style lessons. Yeah, okay. I will try. My website is masterguitaracademy.com. And you can search for my name, Robert Renman. You'll find me that way too. Master Guitar Academy. So that's about a wrap almost. We have gone almost an hour now, so I don't know what else I have to add. Oh, Delta blues. Yeah, that's a great style of blues. You know, there's so many cool styles of music out there, especially when it comes to blues. Like I don't know everything. I can't play everything well. I wish I could do more of that Travis picking style blues. You know, that's cool. Rockabilly, you know, I'm not very good at that. But that's something I am going to work on over time, so I can be more versatile guitarist. That's something I would also recommend, that as you develop as a player, you might find, like I find this myself, that I feel stuck. Oh, I play the same stuff all the time. I play the same licks. I sound the same all the time. So in order to fix that, I need to try different things that is a little bit outside my comfort zone. And that can be really almost any style of music, or some piece of music that's using a different technique that I'm used to. Could be alternate picking, could be Travis picking, it could be, you know, country, chicken picking, whatever. The more variety of techniques and approaches you learn like that, the more variety you'll have as a player, and you'll feel less stuck in one thing, and you'll also sound better to the listener. Yeah, that's about it. All right, guys. I am glad that so many came. We had over 40 people today. That's pretty good. I hope you learned something. And again, feel free to contact me for for anything you like. Questions about what I do, what I can do. I can't fulfill all your promises, but I try to help people learn things that I think matter. Like teachers can be different in how they approach things, and I have my own style, and you know, try different teachers. That's a good thing too, and see what works best for you. I think in general, I like to say that there is not one single way to learn music or guitar or any instrument that is the right one. You have to be open-minded, and you have to think sort of outside the box a little bit. If you are taught something and you're not quite gelling with it, there's nothing wrong with exploring that on your own. Maybe you'll find a different way to play it that works better for you, and if that's the case, good for you. Then you're on the right track. If it sounds good, it is good, no matter how you play it. You know, there are guys that play this way, right? I don't know how to do it, but they started learning that way. You look at Eric Gales, and now there's Albert King played this way too. You know, it worked for them, so you can't. I would never say that's the wrong way to play. I can't play that way, but if someone wants to do that and it works best for them, awesome. Focus on the music more than the details. All right. Give us something outside before you close. I don't know what that would be, but you know, when it comes to playing cool, weird outside things, you can do almost anything you want as long as you come back into the tonality of the chord. It's going to sound good. Like, for example, if I play E minor is the chord, I can play the G melodic minor, right? The G, here's E. This is just one little example of many things you can do. If I play G melodic minor, right? It's not the sound of E minor, because E minor would be. But if I do it correct, with some taste, I guess, some finesse, I might be able to pull it off. Let's see if I can. Come back into the minor pentatonic. I played the wrong note. I always do a lot of chromatic stuff. This note doesn't sound good if I hang on it, but if I do it as a passing thing, Not the best example maybe, but I tried. Hopefully you get the idea anyway. It's more about when you're playing outside scales like that, you have to think about the rhythmic phrasing. You need to sort of have a groove and come back into in a good spot in the groove with some good ending notes. Hey, Jeffrey. Jeffrey Monroe, thank you very much. I'm glad you like what I did here. Yeah, I will do more lessons on YouTube Live. It's actually not that hard for me to just sit and show you some stuff and answer questions. So if there are people who want me to do that, I'll continue. So thank you very much, Jeffrey. I really appreciate it. Go out of tune a little bit. Sorry, Jeffrey, I missed your comment there right away, but I do appreciate it. Yeah, so it's after 8. We went for an hour, so thanks, guys. We will do this again. I applaud you for coming. So take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.